Years ago, I had a friend ask me something about my hair, like how did I get my hair that way, or how is it this or that? And I remember telling her, and her being shocked, like, oh, I do just the opposite. Because we were talking about at one point when I was telling her about how I condition it and how I leave it on longer. And she was like, oh my God. She's like, when I condition it, I tell the hairdresser, because she never does her own hair, and then she only washes her hair at home. She won't condition it. But when she would have conditioner put in, she would tell, it would only be her hairstylist, and the hairstylist knew it was to go in and out. She didn't like it sitting on her hair because she had very, very, very fine hair. She had baby fine hair. And so I thought they were reminding me of this conversation this morning, and I thought it's just so interesting how there's so much they were trying to jam into this example about balance and knowing oneself and intentions, where what's right for one is not right for the other, right? I have 25% Italian in me. I've always contributed, I have good skin and good hair, and I've contributed to the oils in my skin, and then I've associated that with the Italian in me. Is any of that accurate? Who knows? Who cares? The truth is, when my hair and my skin are in balance, is because I'm in balance. When my hair and my skin are at its best, it's because I'm at my best, right? When my hair is not, when my face is not, when something's wrong, I'm out of balance. I'm out of alignment with myself, and my body's alerting myself to that. So it's just like, but we have to listen. So using the same example, some people end up getting a really oily scalp, and then they start to shed. Well, that can mean many things. It could be symbolizing, if they're going through a spiritual path, that they're having another shedding. They're releasing another layer. They're having another breakthrough. Or it could be because they're out of balance, and their body is trying to rebalance itself, and it takes time. But we have to be listening to the cues. So if you're like, oh my God, there's way too much oil on my scalp, and they start to strip their scalp of all of its oils all the time, and then they stop seeing the flakes and they think it's getting better, but then they're out of balance, right? Because then their hair starts to get dry and brittle and all these things. And then they go putting conditioner back on. I mean, it's like we can get topsy-turvy all the time, but are we listening to the signals? So it's like your body might be trying to rid something or balance it out for you, but you're suppressing it in or stripping it away or ignoring it or stuffing it down. We're constantly trying to, quote, fix instead of accept and allow and listen. Right? It's not just accept and allow. It's accept, allow, and listen and learn and pivot. So it's like, it can be challenging, right? Because somebody could be like, I thought I was. I started to strip it away. But was that the message, right? And it's okay. That's the point, is you might have to try a few things until you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize that's what you were telling me. It's the idea with the fever, right? Like you have a fever, your body is trying to rid itself of the cells, it says, that need to go. This needs to go. And so your body's trying to sweat it out, release it, remove it from your body, remove it from the environment. And you go taking stuff to suppress that fever in. Well, don't worry. It'll collect its strength, whatever the bad particles were, gather up and muster more strength, and try to bust through again, but with more than a fever. And then you might suppress it again, right? And so it's okay. It'll keep festering and festering until it gets uglier and uglier. And it's like, when will you listen? Nature will always win. The universe will always win. The universe loves you so much, it will not allow that to stay in your body. It will do everything it can to rid that from your body. But if you don't want to listen, it can fester all the way up into a nightmare. And that's what happens oftentimes, until it's like how did this happen? Well, about 20 years ago, you had a fever that you kept suppressing. And then remember, you pivoted and started doing this too, so that you wouldn't have to face it either. And then remember, you pivoted and did this too, so you still wouldn't have to face it. And it's like, we're just not listening and learning. We're adapting and changing. We're trying to get away from what we're being told. right? We're trying to avoid the mirror. We're trying to escape out of it. There was something else they were doing with this analogy, because we were going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to repeat all that. I better jump on and start. And I think I got through the first, I don't know how long, but maybe 10%. I really can't remember the remainder right now. And hopefully that's okay, in that hopefully you got something from that, in the idea of we're all unique, we're all different, and we all have to figure out our own essence, our own pH balance, our own authenticity, right? If my friend who had the insanely fine hair started my practice thinking that all of a sudden by doing the techniques I did was going to make her hair look like my hair, then her intentions were wrong. She wanted to be me. She wanted to get outside of herself. And it's going to do no good. It wouldn't have worked for her hair. She has very different hair than me. Yet if somebody who has very similar hair as me was having trouble getting their balance, and I suggested a few of the things that I've done to get myself in balance, and they tried them and it worked for them too, because they have the almost identical hair, identical structure, identical whatever, it might work for them. But they too might need to make a slight tweak and just say something simple. Say it's as simple as, I put the conditioner on my hair for 5 minutes. They might find that they need a full 6 minutes, or they need just 4 minutes. If they go a minute over 4, right? Like, I'm just giving a silly example just so you can hear, like, we all have our own essence. And if we're looking to honor ourselves and be our best selves, it's not that we can't use tips and tools and techniques, but we also have to learn to be our best self, to amplify our best features, what's best for us, not what's best to be like them. That's insane. But we do this constantly. So it's like it's one thing to be inspired. It's another thing to want outside. And it is very different. And people seem to get them confused. They're showing me something else, and I don't know. I see what you're showing me. I just forget what the message is to talk about it. Like, my daughter has insanely thick hair. Compared to her hair, my hair's very thin. And I have a decent head of hair. And her hair also, she was born with the most, well, she wasn't born with them, but they grew into the most amazing curls. And her hair, when she was born, was black. She had a full head of black hair. I was born with white hair. They call it like a towhead. I mean, white hair. It wasn't blonde, it was white. And it was white up until like 5. And when my mom passed, isn't that funny? I always think that's interesting. Anyway, and that is interesting. Sorry, I feel like they want me to see something there. You know, we always just think hair goes gray. And it does, right? Distress, environment, hormones, all these things. But it can also go back to its full color when you are in balance, when you are loving yourself, when you are healed and whole, when you're fully aligned. But, you know, if you're looking to get your hair back to its full color, and you'll consider getting yourself in balance to get your full head of hair back, then you're doing it for the wrong intention, so it's not likely going to work. This is why intentions matter. Intentions matter. And we have to honor each individual. That's what they were showing me with my daughter. Like, in honoring her and her hair, like, I had to learn more about curls and how to take care of them, because boy, did she have the most luscious, gorgeous set of curls, like those ringlets. And I was like, I don't know how to care for these. I actually had curly hair, but never ringlets, never like this. I mean, they're spectacular. But then her hair grew so thick and so heavy. Just the thickness and the weight of it alone, I think, makes it straight. It just weighs it down. But the point being, it's like, you can't put the same thing on everyone. We don't even want the same thing on everyone. We don't want everyone. It's like if I told you, just follow me. No, I don't want you to. I want you to be you. I want you to engage me. Like I want us to engage, right? That was the other thing. Sorry, they keep going off into these other things now. What was the other thing you were showing me about that? I was saying art first. Like art, I said, I think the title of the one was Part Aries, or Art Aries, Aries being the first, art first. It was this idea of like, when you're loving yourself, each of us is a piece of art in itself. Just you as is art. And you're so multifaceted, it's endless. And they were showing me, I think it was like with somebody or something, and I remember saying something, well, art first, meaning ourselves first, and not, again, in the selfish way, but in the most beautiful way, where it's that understanding of one another that we are here to love ourselves, honor ourselves, discover, learn, explore, have a blast. And if you have somebody else who too understands or who too has that same line of thinking or resonates with you, is on that same vibrational match, it is blissful to have that person bumping along with you to make it even more enjoyable, but also with that understanding that I guess it's kind of, they're just showing how I am, because we've talked about this many times where I like come and go because I'm so engaged with the universe, which is my art, right? So it's like that idea of, oh, I'm not putting you above the universe, above my alignment. No, we're not matching then, right? Like we're not. And so it's like, it depends on how you hear it. It depends on how you come at it. It depends on how you understand that. It depends if you can accept that, right? Like I think a lot of people couldn't accept that unless they too were honoring themselves and loving themselves and living their blissful life in balance and in alignment with the universe. Because then they would totally get one another and allow for one another without the conditions. It's the idea of truly unconditional love, because it's also true resonating, true vibrational match. Like it's truly getting the other, resonating with the other, loving the other unconditionally as we want to be loved unconditionally. But it's also, again, from that higher frequency and that understanding, because oftentimes all this can be said and it can get flipped on its head, right? You can hear it from your north node or from your south node. And let me tell you, they're two vastly different universes. Yeah. Okay. That's enough. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. You can now purchase an audio journey with me using the link below.